After the deadly floods, a search for solutions at the state capitol.
Do we need a better system for warning? Yes.
Yes.
What does that look like? I don't know.
Lawmakers back at the Capitol working toward ways to prevent future disasters and answering calls for accountability. Governor Abbott vetoed a bill to ban THC products and pushed lawmakers to regulate the products instead. But there's a backlash.
It's time for us to just go across the board with the ban because I don't think the regulation works.
We look at the looming conflict as lawmakers renew their push for a full ban. Pressure from the White House sets up a battle over voting lines in Texas.
What we are expecting for this round, regardless of what people say or submit, is that the maps are coming from the White House.
We dig deeper into the fight over redistricting and the tactics Democrats could use to shut it down.
I think it is obvious that the office has been misused, abused.
New faces join the race to replace Ken Paxton.
This is an opportunity for Democrats to finally coalesce around a message that is about solving problems.
We'll meet two Democrats who want to be your next Attorney General.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle, and we come to you this week from the state capitol, where lawmakers have returned for a special session. There's a lot on the agenda, 18 items ranging from regulations on hemp products, new restrictions on abortion, and redistricting. But 4 items on the special session call focus on preparing for future floods. And with more than 100 people dead in Kerr County, including young campers, there is urgency for lawmakers to take action. In between the loss and rebuilding after the floods, there are questions about how to improve public safety warnings. On the first day of the special session, some people turned attention to a bill that failed to pass during the regular session. Jala Washington looks at support for legislation to give local governments more help with emergency communication systems.
We sent out invitations to flood-impacted families. Unfortunately, nobody's going to be with us today because there's a lot of funerals happening this week.
A chilling reality after Texas's July floods claimed the lives of at least 135 people. Now,
if everyone will just stand with me in silence for a minute, we're going to start with that. Thank you.
This moment of silence. At the Capitol on the first day of the legislative session, advocates push for legislation they feel could make a difference in future disasters.
If your only warning system is a cell phone alert, what happens to those who don't have one? Or those who live in areas where the signal is weak or non-existent?
House Bill 13 passed the House but not the Senate in the regular session. It would create a council to run a grant program and help local governments statewide with emergency communications equipment, and would also require the council to implement communication technology into the state's communications network.
A lot of Texans don't understand why we're not using a piece of legislation that's already written that would literally prevent the kind of tragedy.
It's going to be something that will be looked at. The reality also is this, and that is what's needed in that river basin at that location could be far different than was needed in some other river basin across the state.
And as neighbors rebuild, a continued call for more action.
We have to get in there with our hands.
Jala Washington, State of Texas.
2 days into the special session, 18 senators and representatives came together to discuss the state's response and preparedness for the floods. Investigator Matt Grant was there and has more about the push for accountability.
There should have been an evacuation early in the day.
Anger from some impacted by the July 4th flooding.
This was a complete failure.
As Texas lawmakers begin hearing testimony related to the response.
Those local officials know when to order an evacuation and when not to.
2 days before the disaster, the Texas Division of Emergency Management says it activated the state's emergency response, sending resources, including to Kerr County, anticipating what it called heavy rainfall with the potential to cause flash flooding across West Texas and the Hill Country. Still, TDM Chief Nim Kidd says the severity caught everyone by surprise.
The forecast then for those 44 counties in that area was again 1 to 3 inches of rain.
On Wednesday, the Texas House and Senate committees on disaster preparedness met for the first time this special session, tasked with finding solutions.
Do we need a better system for warning? Yes.
Yes.
Part of the discussion centering on initial confusion, highlighted in Kerr County dispatch audio obtained by our investigative team.
Is there any way we can send a code red out to our Hunt residents asking them to find higher ground or stay home?
We have to get that approved with our supervisor.
But the supervisor, it says here, they couldn't be immediately available on the phone. Just another example of why we need to get this professionalized.
Along with calls for more training and statewide emergency management coordinator standards, lawmakers also brought up failures in communication equipment, like radios used by first responders. Representative Joe Moody co-authored House Bill 13 last regular session, in part to fix problems with interoperability. It failed to pass.
We are better than this. We've lost a lot in this, and it could have been better both before, during, and after. And we know that. And that's not a blame game. No, that's accountability.
Among those voting against HB 13 then, Representative Wes Verdell, whose district includes Kerr County. He now sits on this special committee.
Sometimes government actually has the problem of overreacting to a situation, so I think it's good to have thorough discussions, and even if it takes a little while for that to happen, I think that not overreacting immediately is a good thing.
Matt joins us now. So the committee ended up convening for 12 hours here at the Capitol for that initial meeting. What's next?
Well, leaders have said there will be several more meetings. The next one will be this Thursday in Kerrville, near where the flooding happened. Both the Lieutenant Governor and the House Speaker say this will be an opportunity to talk with local leaders and residents.
So speaking of local leaders, there were questions and criticism in and around the Capitol about their action during the flood. What have we heard about that?
Well, much of the questions have been about the flood alerts, their timing, and just days ago, the head of the Texas Division of Emergency Management said there were no evacuations in Kerr County. The sheriff there has said an after-action review will happen, and officials there tell us that process is well underway. We're also awaiting records that we've requested that could shed some light on the timeline of events.
So we know that Kerr County commissioners met in the past week as well. The judge there taking a lot of criticism as the county's top leader. What did they discuss at their meeting?
Yes, Josh, I watched that meeting. The county engineer told commissioners that while everybody wants to point blame at somebody, that nobody could have predicted this. But that's despite a 2017 flood awareness video produced by area officials that warned about the potential for, quote, monstrous and devastating flash floods. Commissioners learned the loss in value for the county related to flood damage is now more than $200 million. And Josh, the judge there, said that the county, that is going to put them in a financial bind, but we know right now that state lawmakers are discussing a flood relief package, so there's lots more to discuss on the table.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Governor Abbott called on lawmakers to come up with a plan to regulate products containing THC, but some senators say that's not possible.
It is not a regulatable situation. There is no way to stay ahead of the chemistry.
Why they're doubling down and pushing for a full ban. Change could be on the way when it comes to voting districts in the Lone Star State.
Prudent and proper for the legislative committees to take up the items that the governor has designated. And what the legislature does with that is up to the legislature.
The strategy in play to help Republicans gain seats in Congress and how Democrats are fighting back.